beautiful Monday. So let's head into the Zoom room. We're gonna check in, as we do every week, every Monday, with the Mayor's Council of Guam President, PD Mayor Jesse Alig. Good morning.
Off a day. Good morning.
Off the
Morning, Mayor.
day.
We'll just go ahead and get started because I know that there's a memorial this morning. So after this interview, you're heading up to Mungi Town, no?
Right to Manila. So I don't. We that's a new memorial that we've had, and we're just happy that the mayor's office and the Meningan Foundation have worked on, just a memorial site for that village, and so it's definitely a part of our schedule this year. I think it's only been maybe two years or 3 years since we've included Manila in these ceremonies. So definitely looking forward to that 9 o'clock ceremony.
What's the vibe been, if you will, Mayor? These memorials, as we've now had a couple of them already for Liberation Season.
I think it's the for me, I think these memorials are the most important part of our commemoration of liberation, and I don't want to say the same to sound mediocre or to not to not give it enough credence. I think the same in that it's the feeling that we want to get. It's the feeling that these ceremonies exude as far as forgiveness and hope, and I'm just grateful that we're able to celebrate or commemorate them a little more this year than we did last year, and looking forward to continuing to do these for generations to come. So we definitely pleased that we're able to have a little gathering at each of these memorials this year.
Mayor, I was able to host the American Cancer Society's Relay for Life Survivor Drive and Wave, right? And so it's
That's
another
right.
one of these. They didn't do anything. Well, they did virtual last year, but it's kind of one of those signs, right, that we're inching towards normalcy. We're doing that, and then we're
Right.
also doing these memorials. But with these memorials, the public isn't invited to attend. Do you think that there could be a way to maybe accommodate some people who want to come out and see these types of things?
Definitely, I think perhaps the concern is the amount of social gathering that might occur, but I don't believe we've ever turned anyone away that has shown up for the memorial. So I'm not saying come on, come on, come all. I'm saying if you feel the need that to attend for your own purposes, or just for the commemoration, I it was published, right? The governor's office did release that schedule, so the schedule has not changed. Definitely, there's a series of masses that are celebrated in the Catholic churches, so of course, everyone is welcome there as well. But yeah, no, I don't. The last several that I've attended all of them. We've not turned away anyone,
Right,
and there's still ample room to be socially distant, right?
right.
So it's been working out okay so far.
So there's the one today, and then July 15th.
Yeah,
Uh,
so then after today, it's on Thursday. It's in Alahan. So in Alahan will be the first time that we're actually commemorating that. The Again, the Menengan Foundation Memorial Foundation is instrumental in identifying the areas and the locations in which there were significant activity during the war, and so there's two locations within Inalahan that were identified by the foundation, but it's going to be commemorated at the boat ramp on Route 4. And there are two Chamorro names, and I don't want to mess it up, so I don't want to say what it is because
well,
I've never heard of it before.
yeah,
And then on
Umatfit,
Friday is
and
the
then a
Asa
mayor.
Memorial.
Mayor,
I'm sorry, what
so
was it?
there's like, is it Umatfit and then Possessed?
Possesses. There you go. Correct. Umafid and possesses. That's
Okay,
correct.
okay, got on.
Yeah. Now, yeah.
Do you know?
But I don't know. I don't know the locations, and I don't know what they mean.
I see. Do you know the history of what occurred here?
I don't actually. And so when Mayor Doris Lujan was the mayor, she had started that conversation with the foundation. I know that was, that was just, it was at the beginning stages. And then so when Mayor Chargalov took over this term, he was interested as well. And so this is just the first year that they're commemorating it in Lahan, and I'm sure there'll be more specifics as we move along to solidify the memorial itself. But I'm sure on Thursday there'll be, you know, there'll be some explanation of the sites, of the two sites.
It's pretty
And then, of
interesting.
course, on Friday is the Assen Beach Memorial that the Assen Mayor's Office hosts, and that's the park there at Assen, beside the national park, and that location was changed since the former mayor was around, Mayor Blas, and Mayor Solis just continued that tradition there.
It's pretty
And then, of
interesting.
course, next week it's Liberation Day, so
Right on.
we have the fireworks and the drone show. Have you guys seen a drone show before?
I've never
I
seen
keep
it.
on asking around about a drone show because I've never seen one, and everyone says I have.
Oh, there was one on Facebook that went viral, right? Was that last year?
That was crazy. Like I had no idea what people were talking about. I said, "Wait, is it drones that are going to go up and they've got like GoPros on them and you're going to be able to see from
So
the drone's
it's
perspective?" But they're like,
drones-
no, they do like a choreographed
right. They
syncopated-
program it. They've
yeah.
got like lights and all that stuff.
and they're pretty
Right.
amazing.
So
Yeah.
that's supposed to be 8 p.m. at EPAL Beach, and when we were getting the information, I said, "Well, what are they gonna do? What's the drone show?" And they said it's a drone show. I'm like, "Well, what's a drone show?" And so everyone's trying to tell me that I've seen one, and I don't recall, but yeah.
So they
I
put
guess
lights on it, Mayor, and then they all go up and they do like these synchronized things, and it makes like a picture. It's almost like fireworks, but remote control.
I see. Oh,
Yeah, you change the color of the lights and you may make the Guam flag or something
Right,
like that.
yeah.
It's super cool.
I was actually talking to a friend of mine about drones over the weekend, and apparently there's like a lot of places where you can't fly the drone because of security or the FAA. I didn't even know. I thought people could just fly it anywhere. So it's pretty interesting.
Yeah, I know there's some regulation. I don't know what they are, but I know there are. I know that we've had some incidences where the police have actually had to stop people using them, but I don't know what the actual regulations are. I'm sure there's clearance for sure on EPAL Beach on July 21st at 8 p.m. But yeah, that's our liberation for you. Should be good.
Should be. What else is going on with you guys, Mayor?
Well, last week I know you had Ed Byrne on
Yeah,
from
we
DOA
did.
getting
Mhm.
COVID pay, and I guess I'm happy to hear that people listen to KUAM, because after that interview I got all these messages about how we're not turning in our timesheets, and I don't know what the word is anymore, but our timesheets have been turned in every 2 weeks as we typically do, because our workers, we all work hard, so we all deserve a paycheck. Don't you agree?
Right. Yeah.
So in January, we received an email from DOA saying that they'll no longer process the COVID pay unless we use local funds. And so local funds means out of our budget that's already cut, and that's obviously something that can't be done. And why would we use local funds for COVID pay? Just as if there was a typhoon, why would you use local funds if there was federal disaster funds? And so it just kind of doesn't make sense. So of course, since January, our staff have not received their COVID pay, even though they continue to do COVID-related work up to this day. And so the statement that I believe it was you, Chris, that did that story in writing, that was very upsetting to me, because it says that we did not turn in our timesheets, and that is not the truth. The truth is we turned in our timesheets, but they're not able to get paid because there's no money. But according to Ed Byrne, there's money, but there are no timesheets, or the timesheets were not submitted in a timely manner. And so perhaps if they're not reading their email, then perhaps they're listening to your show, and hopefully through KOAM, our 200 mayor's office staff will be able to get paid their COVID pay. So thank you, Chris, for bringing that up.
You got it.
Yeah, the timesheets have all been submitted since January, and I don't see what their issue is. Not really on our agency part as far as submitting the timesheets. According to the email that we received, it's the money. But according to Ed on your show last week, he says the money's there. So, ta-da! There's American Rescue Plan money, and I'm not sure. So yeah, you started it, Chris. But thank
I know. I'm sorry. Oops, I did it again. To quote
We did
Britney,
it
free
again. But like I
Britney.
said, hey, people listen to your show. I mean, social media is can be a good tool, but it's people know how to screenshot things and send it to you, and in a matter of minutes,
Wow.
I'm getting all these WhatsApp messages about where's our timesheets. I'm thinking, no, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
We submitted
I'm pretty
since
sure
January.
the staff of the mayors, when they hear something like that, then they go back to the mayors and be like, Hoffa, what happened? I thought you said it was DOA, and DOA is saying it's the mayors. But apparently, you know what I'm hearing, or what I feel, Mayor, is that when we get these people on, a lot of people are just trying to stretch until we unlock the ARP funding, which for whatever reason, I mean, how long have we had this money, Bree?
Ooh, boy. It's been a while.
I was trying to Google Guam ARP, but, everything comes up because we've been talking about this money. But we've had this money sitting in the bank for...
Almost 2 months now.
I want to say 2 months. I want to say it was like May, that in May we got it, right?
When did I leave? Did I leave?
Well, hopefully
It's when I went on
there's
vacation
gonna
that it
be
actually
just,
happened, so that's about 2 months.
Isn't that insane that we've had this money for that long and they haven't spent a single penny of it? And that they're saying the reason why
a
is
good fiscal plan to save the interest to provide for next fiscal year's budget.
and that's what it fuels, right? Is like
Why not?
I went out this week and I'm talking to people. A lot of people are just really, they really believe, and I don't know, because we've had bank people come on and we ask them, but they just really believe that, oh, she's just leaving it in the bank so it can gain all this interest, and the bank's going to make so much money off this $600 million sitting in there. So I don't know, like, the logistics or the mechanics of how or if it does accrue interest, but what I do know is people are just scratching their heads on why this governor has been so unwilling to give the people money. I mean, it's crazy. In Saipan, they're spending the money already. And then Ed Byrne, he got triggered when I asked him about that Friday. I said, hey, Mr. Byrne, so you're sitting here talking about guidance this and guidance that, when it's clear that the guidance that exists right now lays out some very, very detailed, allowances. There's certain things that you can definitely, without a doubt, use this money for. But they're just not using any. I really don't get it. And especially with this RISE Act, Mayor, I mean, everywhere I go, they're just so bitter about it now.
Well, just like the RISE Act, right? So the application process, that, I'm certainly going to have a discussion with the mayors this week, because that it's already a difficult situation, right? And they're going to have to turn in an application. The people that are eligible may not have I don't know. I mean, unless you guys know before us, but we don't know what the actual application process looks like yet. And if there's an online option, then of course that's a great idea. And I think the mayor's offices should be willing to help submit the online applications, because that's the most efficient and the quickest way to get their money. And of course it's gonna create a little more work for the office staff, but again, that's why we're here, is really to serve. So I know that not all my colleagues will agree with me in assisting residents submit their online applications, but if it's the best way and the easiest way for our residents to receive their money quickly, then I think we need to prepare to do that. And so I'm looking forward to having that discussion with them. And then of course, if it's a document, a hard copy with a hard copy application with their verifications from us, then we're still going to find residents that are going to need help completing those documents. And so we want to be able to be there and ready to assist them, so that they've waited so long already for this money. And for those residents that truly need the money, and what we want to be able to help them get that as quickly as possible, because they're already waiting for it, and they've known about it for how long? Since 35th
December. Well, right, right, yeah, crazy.
So yeah, I mean, I'm expecting that to be a big deal as the application process, is revealed to us. So, we'll certainly have that conversation with the mayors to see how we can be a little more proactive and help out the residents, so that they can secure that RISE Act money for themselves and their families. But other than that, it's really kind of Liberation Week this week and next week for most of the mayors that are assisting with the memorials. We don't have too much going on other than that and preparing our offices for the influx of residents. And so I know that the larger villages, to include Manila and Barrigada, they're working that out, their own SOP as to how they're providing those verifications to their residents. And so far, everything in general has actually been okay. Everyone's just, hoping they're a little more patient with everyone, with the mayor's offices and their staff. But I don't have. There's nothing else going on in our realm this week, not that I know of, unless you guys have something to ask.
Oh yeah, Bree's got a really tough question. You have no?
Go ahead.
I wanted to ask about because I drove by the Tijen
Dogville?
the dog. What is it?
The dog area?
The Dogville. Yeah, I'm trying to Dogtown. Let's just call it Dogtown. I drove by the Tijen Dogtown, and I noticed it was all roped off with and pallets there, Mayor. Can you share a little bit about that?
So, yes, we've had the discussion. Mayor Paco and I have discussed our plan with agriculture, animal control, and game as to how we're going to rescue those dogs. There's a situation over there, but we're certainly still working to transfer the dogs to a shelter, and so that they're that they go through the process that the shelter does with whatever dogs they have. So it was attempted, a trapping mechanism was attempted, but in discussing the plan with agriculture and game, of course, a lot of that had to be changed up because they're not pigs, right? They're not swine. And so initially the plan was to mimic the feral swine traps, and that wasn't something that was going to work. And so between animal control, gain, and the mayors, it was discussed that the trap had to be changed up a bit in order to accommodate it, in order to safely trap the dogs. And so that's what's taking so long. And then, of course, airport police is involved, and they're helping us make sure that everyone is safe in that area. And that's why you see a lot of activity over there. And if you see the police, they're just there just to make sure that everyone is okay. It is government property, so that's another issue. But nothing else in that case other than that for now.
Right on.
Has anything started with building that wall over at the PD cemetery?
Build the wall.
It hasn't, but they secured the other entrance, so they're listening to you guys. Yeah, so there's the perimeter now is secured, and there's only one entrance and one exit, which is that's how it should be, really, because what happens is that secondary makeshift entrance actually you had to actually go into the estates, further down into the estates, and just jump the curb. I mean, if you had a sedan, I don't know if you'd jump the curb, but so finally, I think last week I noticed that last week it was fully secured as far as the concrete barriers. So that's one step closer to a permanent fence. Biba KUAM.
Biba.
Hi day. But I know that some offices are involved with the beautification task force this weekend, so I know that they're cleaning up some areas for liberation, and I mention it because the VA cemetery, veteran cemetery, is a part of that, and we'll be helping there. Gosh, the trash. You guys did a whole thing on trash, and you would assume the amount of listeners you have, they would heed some of the advice and some of the things that you guys have aired. And I tell you, trash, it's just all over the place. It doesn't matter where you are. And the side of the road, like, really, parents, do you not yell at your kids and stop the car and turn around and pick up the trash that your child threw out the door? Or maybe you threw it out the door? So like Route 1 is always, I mean, I have to say that I am proud of Route 1 and PD because we tried to keep it clean. And GVB has a contract and they clean it, I think it's once a month. But, we have our staff going out there now because, the GVB contract is just not sufficient anymore. I mean, there's trash out there. I mean, if you see the amount of trash on Route 1 and Route 6, I mean, imagine the illegal dump sites that they have up north. I mean, that's just horrible. And in Manila, all the ones that you guys covered in the entire month of, was it June it was? I mean, it's like really people, like I said, the amount of listeners you have really should hear, and maybe that's not the target audience. Maybe you need to change up your show because
you need to get more ghetto.
Who else needs to listen to this? Right, because my goodness, you guys did a great job the entire month. I mean, I was almost sick of hearing about trash.
Yeah.
And it's just still a big deal. So I mentioned again the Beautification Task Force project because it's in celebration of liberation, but it seems like that's all we're doing because it's all around. I mean, it just really is. So
I would say though, what we have seen is just more and more people helping clean up the island. But you're right. But just as soon as they clean it up, it's trashed.
Wow, you were positive. Thanks, Sabrina. That's so cool.
Hey, I'm a positive person.
Not on Mondays.
That's great. You're right, though. You are right.
But I am sick and tired, though, of hearing about and seeing trash.
Especially this last round that we did for Earth Month. Like, I was really dragging. Like, oh, God, I'm just so annoyed with this dumping. Because it's a whole process. It's not like you have to, like, plot out, where am I going to go drive to dump this stuff? Then you got to go there in the middle of the night. It just seems like it's just way easier to put it in a trash can.
Yeah.
And so the amount of like planning and trouble that these people go through to just trash our island,
like,
it's sad.
But thank you to those that are volunteering.
Yes. Yeah. And I wanted to say, what I saw last week when I was coming home from work, because I came back to the office on Friday afternoon, and then driving back up on the way to Jigo, I'm passing the skate park and everything. I don't know who they were, but it was maybe about 7 or 8 people. 5:30 in the afternoon on a Friday, and like it's busy, everybody's out. The work week's winding down. You've got probably bills to take care of and everything. There were people painting the pavilions over there near the skate park, and just stuff like that. And they just looked like they were taking care of and doing what we had to do. But I was like, man, that's what makes living here like so special. But I was like, man, you're gonna see that same pavilion's gonna be like messed up in about 2 weeks.
What else?
And I hate thinking like that.
Yeah, no, that's true. But I think you see, and Bree's right. There's more people, more organizations volunteering to do good things. But I think they're the ones listening to your show. So how do we get to the people that are not listening to your show? Get it?
Yeah. I feel you.
Because it's a good thing, right? Yeah. Everyone's wanting to do more, and that's a good thing. It really is. But it helps all of it. Helps the government, helps the island, helps the environment. But what about everyone else who's not, not helping us out?
And going back to the government side, it's like I remember interviewing the lieutenant governor. I want to say it was like a couple of years ago. Mm-hmm. And what I find frustrating is like how a lot of our elected officials, they want to talk so much trash about trash, but where are the easy, quick solutions? Like when I interviewed the lieutenant governor, he was like, yeah, maybe and this is a couple of years ago, mind you, and the problem's only multiplied by, it's so much worse. He said we just need to eat it and put out dumpsters on certain days where people can go and dump, because everyone talks about, the economics or whatever. So instead of just arguing about whether or not people can really afford to dump the trash, let's give them an opportunity to dump the trash. I mean, at least let's say it's 1 day a week. So I don't know how many elected officials I've talked to, and they all talk about this idea of subsidizing and placing, giving people a place to put the trash, like almost like an amnesty kind of thing. We haven't seen anything, and instead what you have is a lot of these private, nonprofit community organizations end up just eating it and going out and cleaning up stuff, because if we sit around and wait for our government to respond, not you guys, I know you guys are picking up abandoned vehicles and stuff, Mayor, but that's also very frustrating to me. It's like the mayors are in over their heads, and there just doesn't seem to be a lot of support from the higher-ups.
Well, I mean, Senator St. Augustine is working on something. I know he calls your show all the time. So
Too much. We just had him on when? Never. Right.
Senator St. Augustine has an idea for fiscal 22, and I'm hoping that it works out. And so if it pans out with DPW, then a lot of that responsibility will be on DPW regarding the abandoned vehicles or the junk vehicles, where just kind of how animal control needs to take over the animal situation. So hopefully that'll be something that will be a good thing for not only us, the mayors, but for the island.
Right on.
But going back to the trash, so the I get it about the trash bins and residential disposal, but what about, like I just mentioned, like about Route 1? I mean, they're not throwing bags of trash out. They're throwing their paper plate out. They're throwing their cans out. It's like, it's really about pride in their island, and just really a sense of responsibility. And I don't know how we need to address that, but it really is, So several years ago, even though I don't agree with the actual wording, there was a nonprofit, or I don't know if they're a nonprofit, but it was an organization that started the whole We Are Guam, right? And so that whole sense of pride, I think, was important, and I think a lot of the villages subscribe to it. And so perhaps we need to revisit something like that again, in order for us to, to have more pride and to take more responsibility of our environment and of our island. It's just something, another thing other than just the residential.
I mean, there's a ton of things that you can do without even having to go pick up trash to kind of start to change the mindset. I mean, you need your awareness campaign, your jingle, right? Don't mess with Guam type stuff, and you put out a blitz like that, and then you just keep it out, and it sinks into people's hard heads. Mayor, we got to run, but thank you. Always good to, I like catching up with you on Monday because you got a good sense of humor, and I mean, don't take this the wrong way, but you kind of remind me of my grandma, just sitting and drinking coffee and just habla, Let's go habla. Tunasi and Bernie said it's the paperwork. It's not the paperwork.
I'll wait for your jingle, by the way.
Thank you.
Week.
Thank you, Mayor. Right on.
Take care.
All right. Mayor Jesse Alig. He's the mayor of PD, but he's also the Mayor's Council of Guam president. Okay.
And he hates trash.
Yeah,
as
definitely.
we do.
Yes.
As you should.